Hello, hello. Oh, we have the filter on again. There we go. Hello and welcome. I am Karina and I will be starting our live in just a couple minutes here. I'm just kind of waiting until everything is all set up. Thank you for joining me. I'm making sure my filter is off so that you can see things the way that they really are. I appreciate that. Hello. Um, I'm Karina. I'm going to give you a little bit of an overview for our evening, but as we're waiting to kind of get everybody on, I would love to hear where you are and if you are prepping for Thanksgiving. So here it is 7 p.m. in California, and I am not hosting Thanksgiving tomorrow. Thankfully, my mother is. But I would love to know, are you hosting Thanksgiving? If you are, you're amazing for being here. And you're amazing for hosting. So way to go. Hello from Singapore. Way to go. Indianapolis. Awesome. Thank you. Um, Also, what time is it everywhere too? Because here, 7 p.m., you might hear some noises in the background. My kids might be getting ready for bed at some point in time. So I'm sorry. 10 p.m. Okay, that's not too bad, but still late. I'm usually in bed by 10. Hi from Canada. Very fun. So is everybody celebrating or is everybody celebrating tomorrow? I know like US Black Friday, that's probably all over the place. Black Friday is, but Thanksgiving, I'd love to hear if you are celebrating Thanksgiving tomorrow. And if you are, what you're cooking. I'm making mashed potatoes. So they gave me something easy because they know me too well. So hopefully my mashed potatoes turn out okay. um, I'd also love to know if you are kind of where you are on your topper wearing journey. If you are brand new to topper wearing, you're kind of exploring whether this might be right for you. If you are already maybe own a topper and you're just trying to look for some tips and tricks this evening, and maybe you are a veteran topper wearer and you're just here to be a part of community and hear from other people. 20-pound bird ready to go. Way to go. You are cooking the main dish. I am not that brave, but that's amazing. My family, I'm like one of three. So I have a younger brother and a younger sister, and my parents are pretty good cooks. So it shouldn't be too massive tomorrow, but you know, the cousins and the friends and all the things. It's exciting, especially the little kids. Okay, you own two and you love Aerie. So I'm actually wearing Aerie right now. Um, she's beautiful, isn't she? And this is in Vanilla Butter Blonde. While we're waiting for a little bit more people to pop on, again, thank you. And thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us. I'm so excited. I love lives. And I have a tendency to go a little information heavy on my lives. So if you find that I gave you way too much information and way too quickly, you can always let me know to slow down. I try to read the comments as I go. I might get a little excited and miss them, but I do try to read the comments. And if you need me to slow down, please let me know. You can always go back and rewatch the live. So if you felt like you missed something, or you are in the middle of prepping for Thanksgiving tomorrow, then you can always come back and watch later. To pick up on the little details that you had to miss as you're doing your food prep or whatever you might be taking care of this evening. So just remember, you'll be able to go back and watch it. However, don't be afraid to stop me and ask questions in the moment, because I would love to provide clarity as we are navigating this evening. I already have some questions. So great. Yes, I was going to say that. Please be sure to ask me your questions. I love questions. They are what I thrive on. I want to be able to help you in your journey. So please be sure to ask questions along the way. Don't be afraid to stop me so that I can slow down. And I do have a bunch of questions that already were sent in, so I will try to address most of those. But do please ask your questions because I will prioritize the questions in the live. I do too love the rooted colors. Like I said, this is Vanilla Butter Blonde. It has ever so slight root on it, but I have some more options here that I can kind of show you the difference, especially in the blondes, because I know sometimes that can be a little overwhelming for people trying to choose and trying to pick out one color or another. So we'll kind of touch on that a little bit. This is 16 inches in length. The one that I am wearing is. And one of the questions was, do you have the topper that frames your face that has the adjustable band? So I'm thinking you're referring to the hairline topper, and it just kind of is almost like a headband, and it's made to kind of sit right along here. I don't actually have one of those to show you tonight, so I apologize. But I'm happy to answer questions about that topper if you have questions specific to that topper and how it works and all those things. Another question that I got about Aerie already is, can you wear the Aerie without clips and only the halo wire? So that is a great question. And I think that is one of the ways to really save and preserve your bio hair, is to make sure that you're using that halo wire. It's such a great asset. I say it is probably one of the best things that Uniwigs has done for their clients, is just including that halo wire with the purchase of your topper, because it is just, it's one, it's comfortable, two, it's easy to adjust, and three, it preserves your bio hair. So yes, to answer your question, you can absolutely wear it with only the halo wire. However, I do like to kind of give you all of the information. You might find that it needs to be adjusted throughout the day because it might kind of scoot you around, similar to a headband. If you're wearing a headband all day long, it's going to move around a little bit on your head. It might need some adjusting. Your halo wire will also probably need a little bit of adjusting as you go along, just to make sure that the placement is correct throughout the day. So just know that if you're not going to use any clips, that's totally fine. And I do that all the time, but you might need to address your topper throughout the day. This is live now, so be sure to ask your questions. This is live. I get a little nervous for lives too, so bear with me if I get a little all over the place. But yes, this is live, so be sure to ask your questions. I'm going to give you a quick overview, and then we will go ahead and jump right in. First and foremost, I have an outline because I'm that kind of person. I wanted to talk about hiding knots on some of the darker toppers or the darker colors. Hiding knots is one of those concerns that I get a lot of questions about, what you can do to hide those knots, what you can use. So I'm going to talk about that. I want to talk about Burmese hair specifically. I washed one today for you so it could air dry completely and you could see what that looks like. So we'll show you that topper, which I love. By the way, I love Burmese hair. I know it's not for everybody. We'll talk a little bit of the difference between Burmese hair and Chinese hair. We're going to talk about, like you said, the roots, like a root shadow, what that looks like on some of the toppers, and the fact that you can actually customize these after the fact. So that's all exciting. I've gotten a lot of questions like this lately about blending the hairline topper. So or not the hairline topper, the lace topper with your hairline. So we'll talk a lot about that. We're going to talk about Breeze versus Aerie. So the two lace top toppers, we'll talk about those. I'm going to show you a closed lace versus an open lace or an extended lace. So you can kind of see the two of those side by side. And then we are going to talk about traction alopecia and some of those major concerns that people have when wearing their toppers. So there's my overview, there's my outline. Feel free to stop me whenever so that I can help answer or clarify any questions that you have. And I will try, if I don't address your question, just ask it again. Like, I'm not going to be offended at all. It just might be that I missed it. So don't hesitate. If I haven't addressed your question, ask it again, because I really, really want to make sure that I'm addressing those that are here and joining us. I want to answer your questions. And again, I give a lot of information, so I'm sorry ahead of time, but I always feel that more information, it might feel a little overwhelming, but I promise you, more information is better. It just helps make those decisions. And I would rather give you all of the information so that you can sort through it as you go. I'm going to scroll back up a little bit because I had some questions. Do. Okay, yeah. So somebody had asked about that halo wire we were talking about earlier, and if you can just wear that with maybe one clip in the back, absolutely. I will often just wear the halo wire and then the two clips in the back just to preserve that, like the hairs right in through here where maybe I have a little bit less hair and it might feel a little bit more uncomfortable throughout the day if I'm wearing it like that. So just because you have a bunch of clips in your topper does not mean you have to clip them all in. Again, really, really good for preserving your bio hair, protecting your bio hair if you are not using all of the clips every day. If you give your hair a break from time to time, if you rotate clips, I do that too, where I will put, maybe I'll clip in, like I'll add a clip or two to my topper sometimes, and then I won't use all the clips all the time. So know that you can do what works for you and what feels the most comfortable. Do not feel like you have to do it one way because somebody else does it that way or I do it that way. You do what's right for you. There's not a wrong way to do it. Maybe there's a wrong way to do it. You don't want to wear your hair topper all the way back here, and I'll show you why later. But for the most part, there's not a wrong way to do it. So let's see. Going back up, making sure I'm getting these. Okay, so I have someone again talking about the Aerie, which is great because that's what I'm wearing right now. Your Aerie is closed lace at the back part is a bit bulky, heavy, and the front hairline still able to see the lace line. Do you know how to fix that? Okay. So I think if I'm understanding the question correctly, you're finding that a hard time blending the lace in the front and you're finding it bulky in the back. So a couple of things. I would first of all start off by adjusting the part line on your hair topper. If you haven't done that yet, adjusting the part line on your hair topper so it's not quite so perfect. I think that's a really nice way to kind of help with the hair, the natural lift of the hair, and to make it look a little bit more natural, like you would naturally part your hair versus this like stick straight part line. So part of the reason I bring this up, let me show you. Let's do this one here. So this is a clear topper, and this comes with a super straight part line. I find that this is like a dead giveaway that you're wearing alternative hair because most people, unless you're just, that's who you are and you have that tendency to do that very straight part line, most people don't have a super straight part line like this. In addition, when you receive your topper, you see that the hair has, the part line's not going all the way back to the base of where the lace top or mono top ends. And by that I mean, let me show you. The hanger's fighting me. So the monotop extends actually all the way back here. However, the part line stops right here. When you adjust your part line, you can bring that part line back to where it fits best on your head. Not everybody's head is shaped the same. Some people have itty bitty heads, some people have bigger heads. So you need to adjust that part line, not just where it is on your head, but how far back that part line goes. And what that does is it kind of helps the back of the hair kind of flow a little bit naturally to how your hair flows because you're adjusting it to how your bio hair grows. I'm hoping I'm making sense. If I'm needing clarification, like please let me know. But by adjusting that, you're going to find that it really, really helps the way that the hair is distributed and not feel so bulky back there. Now you can do things like thinning out your topper. That's totally fine. I recommend going slow. The hair doesn't grow back, so just make sure that as you're thinning it out, you're just doing a little bit at a time. But you'll find that those two things will really help with how it sits in the back, especially after giving it maybe an initial wash. Those kind of things really, really help. Then talking about blending the front hairline. So I would say the best way to make sure that on your closed lace airy topper that the hairline or that the lace is not obvious is to set it slightly behind your hairline. And by that, I mean just slightly, so that your hairline is what people see when they look at your hair. But then, I'm going to get really close, warn you ahead of time. But then your hair topper, do you see where mine? So when I'm doing this, you can really only see my hairline. But then you can, as I lift, you can see where the topper starts. So it is about a centimeter behind my hairline is where I place my topper, and that really helps hide that lace so that nobody can see it. I find the lace is very transparent. So these things tend to really help with that initial blend and making it look a little bit more, let's say, helping what people see to be your hairline versus the topper or the lace. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. Okay, so here's another question. I'm located in Southern California. It's like 7 p.m. here, so it's not that late. It's like very close to my bedtime though. I'm old now. I feel old most days. And my kids are home from school this week, so they're wild. I have 3 boys. Their ages are 13, 9, and 7. They're so much fun, but so wild. So by the end of the day, I'm like, I'm done. I'm exhausted. Okay. I am wearing, so again, for those that just joined us, hello again, I'm Karrina. Thank you for joining us, and please be sure to throw in your questions. I'm going to get to them as much as I can. I am wearing Airy right now. This is the closed lace Airy, and I will kind of take her off and show her to you in just a second. Thank you for telling me that made sense and I'm not just rambling here. And yes, I do love this topper. It's so pretty. And what I love about Airy is it feels like it's just the right amount of hair. It's not a ton of hair, but it's enough to give you like good coverage. I do the little back shake thing, not because I'm trying to like show off my hair or something, but I want you to see what the topper looks like with movement, because anybody can make any topper look good when it's just like perfectly still, but that's not how normal people move. So being able to see the topper with some natural movement kind of gives you a better idea of what the coverage looks like. All right, let's see. Yes, so the Airy Elegance is 120% density, so it's a little bit lower density than maybe something like your upgraded Courtney topper. I love it. I'm going to take this off for you so you can see the construction, and I'm also going to show it side by side with the extended lace so you can kind of see what that looks like. I'm just making sure I'm not missing any questions. Oh, you can order the Halo Wire just through Uniwig's website. You can just get that by itself. I want to say it's around $10. It's just so nice. It's nice to have on hand. It comes with these little loops that you can sew into your topper so you can remove the Halo Wire. It's super easy. Hello, and thank you for joining us. If you just came on, let's see the grip on this. Okay, so let's go ahead and take this off. And I'm going to remind you, I think it shows on your screen, hopefully it does. If you order during Black Friday, the Black Friday sale, you're already going to get like the 30% off, which is amazing and like one of the best sales of the year. But on top of that, you also have a chance to win a Dyson, like not a Dyson vacuum, like a Dyson like curler. Because when I think Dyson, I think of a vacuum because that's my life. But I'm going to show you the curler because this thing's amazing. I was looking at it online. I'm like, oh, I'm so jealous. And it's also huge. Look at this thing. It's like half of my size. But yes, this is so cool. So it's called an air straight, and it lets you do, can you see it all the way? You can go from like wet hair to dry hair and curled. Like this thing's so cool. So anyway, I think you can, I think they're giving away several of these. So if you make a purchase, I think with Black Friday, then you can get one of these. So cool. Okay, now I want to show you this, the inside of this Airy Elegance topper. By the way, I'll give you some tips for like storage and maintenance on your toppers later on, but I want to remind you to always store your hair topper with the clips closed. And what that does, it just protects the hair. So what you don't want to do is store it with the clip open like this, and then the hair gets all jumbled in there and tangled, and then you ruin the hair, and you don't want to do that. So be sure when you're storing your toppers that you just make sure that little clip is closed. And yes, thank you, Uniwigs. They do. They have affordable prices, and I have to tell you, all of my interactions with Uniwigs have just been so positive, like such wonderful people. So I really love Uniwigs. I love the company. I love the products. I just have nothing but great things to say. I have a question about having gray around the hairline, which I do too. If you look, you can see them. I won't get too close because you'll see a lot more gray than I want you to. So color recommendations are really hard to do just based on um, descriptions. So what I would say to do is if you're kind of wavering between a few different colors on their website, I encourage you to use YouTube. I find that YouTube has a variety of different people wearing that certain shade in different lighting on different skin tones. So I always encourage people, if you're wavering between a few different colors, hop on YouTube, write the color code or the name of the color that you're looking for, and just see what it looks like on different people. And that will really help give you a much better idea of what it's going to look like on you. So that's kind of my little piece of advice when looking at colors. So once again, this is Airy Elegance. Such a beauty. So she has a 6.5 by 7-inch base. And when we say that, what we're referring to is this around here. So she's going to give you quite a decent amount of coverage. It's not going to be huge, but I'm going to show you where these clips fall on my head so you can kind of see. When I put her on, the clips are right here and right here. So it's not wrapping super low on my head. It's not coming down here. The topper base ends about right here on my head. So you can kind of see how much that's covering on the top of your head. What I love about this is it has this huge lace area, but it also has some wefting in there. So you're getting a little bit of extra hair, a little bit more coverage in the back. So pretty. Another thing I wanted to point out is my color is very different. My bio hair color is very different from the vanilla butter blonde, but I can wear this color so well because I have some dimension in my bio hair and this color has dimension in it. And oftentimes people tend to be a little bit lighter on the top hair, like the top part of their hair, than in the underside. So for me, it's not a huge blending issue. You can kind of see a little bit of my darker strands underneath, but it gives me enough coverage. And I find that I really like this color. So I tend to lean towards it. And it's okay that my bio hair doesn't match perfectly, as long as the root kind of tends to be similar. And it's similar enough. It's a little bit better when my bio hair is highlighted, but I only do that now like every 6 months or so. But I tend to like this color. So the ear tuck test is the best way to make sure that your blend is going to look fine. And if you can do that and the blend looks okay, you can pull off that color. So I do have a question about thinning out the topper. That is one of those things that I'm not a stylist. I do thin out my own toppers, but I just go so slow. I just take off a little bit at a time. Usually what I do, and I hesitate to give too much advice on this because I really don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to cutting toppers. But usually what I'll do is I'll kind of take that top layer of hair and I'll pin it away, right? I don't want to touch that top layer of hair. What I want to focus on is a little bit of the under hair. And then I'll take thinning shears and I just, ooh, I'm so scared to tell you to do this because I don't want you to ruin your topper. If you can, take it to a stylist and have them do it just a little bit at a time. But I will take my thinning shears and I will gently, like, I will not thin them up here. Don't touch this stuff. I do it down here and I'll just do a little bit, like a few cuts here and there. Does that make sense? But again, I am not a stylist. I have no training. This is just self-taught. So I do encourage you to take it to a stylist if you can. Watch some YouTube videos if you do want to do it yourself, and just do a very little bit at a time because it doesn't grow back. Yes, and the length on that one is 16 inches. The one that I just showed you is Airy Elegant. 16 inches. Just such a pretty one. So pretty. So I wanted to show you. Okay, well, we'll go back a little bit. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm getting excited. Sorry. I'm going to make sure to answer your questions, but I do also want to answer some of the questions that were sent in to me. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about is hiding knots. Now I find, let's bring back Airy. I find that the knots on this are really not dark enough for me to want to touch. However, I do have an upgraded Courtney that probably could use a little bit of concealer powder or that silicone tape, scar tape. So I'm going to show you what I do, 2 different methods for hiding knots or making that mono top or lace top look a little bit more realistic. And this one is the upgraded Courtney that I'm showing you. So it's a little bit different. I just want to point out some of the differences between the Airy that you just saw and then the upgraded Courtney. This is the upgraded Courtney. She has a mono top. So mono top's going to be a little bit thicker, a little bit more durable than the lace top that we just looked at. And then the density on Courtney is 130%. So it's a little bit more dense. As far as the coverage, you're looking at more, not just more coverage on the base size, because this is a 7 by 8 inch base, but also just more hair all over. So there's a quick little difference between the two. But I want to show you the 2 ways I use. I help that part line look a little bit more realistic. So the first way is going to be concealer powder. Super duper easy. I like True Match. I just find that it blends well, maybe just with my skin tone. I use that and I use an eyebrow brush. It's a pretty easy combination. I just take my brow brush, get a little bit of the foundation powder on there, and then I dab it right on my part line. Now, obviously, you don't want to leave it like that because it just looks like you have makeup on your part line. So then I take the spindly side of my brow brush and I kind of work it into that part line. And what that does is it just helps your part line look a little bit more scalp-like. You can kind of see. And then you'll want to obviously kind of work the extra powder off of the hair because you don't want it to look like you have makeup there. But I find that this is probably my favorite way to hide that or to kind of conceal those knots and make my part line look a little bit more realistic. Another way is to use a little bit of silicone tape or scar tape. And this is very easy. You can get this on Unowig's website. You just take a little piece and you stick it to the underside of the cap and you're ready to go. And it should last you a few days, if not a week. I usually can keep mine on there for about a week. I don't wash my topper very often either, so that kind of helps. But I find that this is a very easy way. Here's your tape. You stick it to the underside of your topper. I don't know that I can do this well. There we go, while filming it. I kind of just stick it to that underside right along that part line, obviously making sure the hair is out of the way. And then there you go. And it has that far more realistic looking scalp. Now you can see, since I've used it in combination with the concealer powder, you have a very realistic looking scalp here because I have both the scar tape and the concealer powder working together. So it just gives that really natural look. And that's what the underside looks like. So that's kind of one of those things that I do often to help my toppers look a little bit more natural, realistic. Not that anyone's going to be looking down at the top of your head, but I do find that if that's something I am worried about, or I just really want that natural looking scalp, I will do that on my mono top and lace top toppers sometimes. Somebody had asked about what shampoo I use to wash my toppers, which is a great question. You can really use so many different hair care products. A lot of them are really, really good. I would use something that's like salon quality. Personally, I like Aveda. I'll show you what I use. I use this line from Aveda. I also like their Shampure, line, and then their botanical line, I think it's called. I pretty much like anything Aveda. Like you can do any Aveda. I think they're high quality. There's no sulfates. I find that it has a tendency to just be like gentler on the hair. It doesn't dry it out. It keeps it hydrated. I just tend to like Aveda, but again, any salon quality shampoo and conditioner are totally fine. Oh, good. Thank you. I'm glad that these are helpful. And yes, I will put that one on. So this one again is the upgraded Courtney topper that I was showing you how to hide those knots, and I'm going to go ahead and put it on for you. I'm adjusting my part line because it was a little bit different for the Airy. Now obviously I would fix that so that the entire part line is consistent. So when I'm putting on my hair toppers, what I like to do is always start with your clips closed. Like we talk about storage, we want to keep our clips closed when we're putting it on so it's not grabbing your hair or tangling the topper hair. We don't want that. And then I kind of clip in 1 or 2 clips at a time. And you'll notice I kind of hold onto the top of the topper and I pull down and then I scoop up hair. So I do that on each side. I want to pull the topper down, scoop up the hair, as much hair as possible, so that I'm getting a good grip on my bio hair, and I'm not just scooping up a little bit of hair and putting tension on a little bit of hair. I want as much of my bio hair as possible. And then this is the light permafrost color. This is the one with the dark root. After I put on my topper, I like to brush my bio hair kind of up and through my topper. I find this is one of the easiest ways to blend my hair topper. Okay, so again, I'll get nice and close, I'm sorry. So you can see when I'm putting on my hair topper, I put it just slightly behind my hairline. But I make sure when you're looking at my hairline, what you're seeing is my little baby grays. They're gray. You can see them. You can see my little baby grays, but that's what you're going to notice if you're looking at my hair. Now, if I do want to wear my hair, this one's a little on the dirty side. Sorry. If I do want to wear it a little bit further back, then I like to use a little bit of hair building fibers because you can kind of see that transition. So I'll take a little bit of hair building fibers. Let me grab them. And I kind of spray them right there at that transition. I find that hair building fibers are easier to put on before you put on your hair topper. But let me show you what I do. Kind of lift it up a little bit. And I just spray it right there at that transition. And it just makes it a lot easier to blend. So, upgraded Courtney topper. This is in the light permafrost and it's 16 inches in length. And yes, this one is Burmese hair. And since we're talking about Burmese hair, I do want to show you what it looks like when it air dries because I think it's so pretty. Um, Also, to answer another question, do I send all of my toppers to my stylist or do I leave it as is? That is such a good question. It depends. For me, I don't have a straightforward answer. I'm sorry. Most of my toppers, I tend to either thin out or add some face framing layers to. I find that this just helps it look and feel like me. I feel like sometimes it can be a little weighty in the front, so some face framing layers kind of just help get the hair off of my face and kind of give it a little bit more of a natural movement. However, some of my toppers I don't touch. I don't do anything to them. Like the Airy Elegance, I haven't done anything to her at all besides curl her. Um, the Breeze, my Breeze topper, I haven't done anything to. So I do find that it does help if you're finding it's kind of falling in your face to add some face framing layers or to thin it out a little bit, but it doesn't need it per se. It's just an individual kind of thing. I'm going to grab a drink of water as I read this question. So I have someone asking about length. They say that their hair is shorter in length, and if they could wear a 10-inch topper, maybe a topper that's maybe a bit shorter. I'm guessing that the question is, can you wear a topper that's longer than your bio hair? I think that is the question. Shoulder length. Can I wear 10-inch topper that's maybe a bit shorter? Maybe you're asking, I'm sorry, I misunderstood. I think you're asking if you can wear a topper that is shorter than your bio hair. So that is such a good question. And my answer is no. I don't recommend it. I don't recommend getting a topper that's shorter than your bio hair. Let me see if I have one because I want to show you. I think it helps to see why you shouldn't do that. Let me grab one. Give me just a second. While I'm looking for that. Okay, well, this is going to be not a super great example, but you'll see kind of why. It's not the right color, but this topper is definitely shorter than my bio hair. Let's see, this topper is 12 inches in length. Okay, I'm going to show you what this looks like on. Again, it's not the right color, but it'll show you why you don't want one that's shorter than your bio hair. I always recommend going 1 to 2 inches longer than your bio hair. You could pull off a little bit longer than that, maybe 3 to 4 inches, but I think 1 to 2 inches longer than your bio hair is the ideal length when you're shopping for a topper. But shorter, you don't want because, demonstrate, basically your bio hair is going to stick out and it's going to look scraggly in comparison to the topper hair. At least that's what happens to my hair. My hair looks like scraggly and odd and just not the same if it is longer than my topper. Okay. So obviously it's the wrong color, but you can also see like you have this, the texture, everything, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work. And I wish I had one ready to go that was shorter than my bio hair. I probably should have done that. But it doesn't blend well. It's choppy. My ends look scraggly. So I don't recommend going shorter than your bio hair. Going 1 to 2 inches longer than your bio hair is totally fine. I think that's ideal. And that gives your bio hair some room to grow. You could even go upward of 3 to 4 inches longer than your bio hair and probably look just fine. So hopefully I answered that question or understood the question. But yes, I think that's such a good question because you would think that you could go slightly shorter and it could act as like this layered kind of look, but it just doesn't work. All right, so let's move on. How often should we wash a topper? Another good question. These are all such good questions. So I recommend, I'm maybe also not the right person to ask because I never wash my toppers. I do wash my toppers. I do. I wash my bio hair pretty much every day so that my topper stays relatively clean. But I only wash my hair topper probably once a month or so. And sometimes even longer, sometimes 4 to 6 weeks if I'm not wearing the topper every day. If I am wearing it every day, about once a month, you'll find that when it needs a wash, you'll run your fingers. Let me see this one. You'll kind of, when you're running your fingers through the topper, it just gets stuck quickly. It's just that grime that's kind of built up on your topper, and you'll probably be appalled when you do wash it and you look at the color of the water. It's a little bit on the gross side when you finally do get around to washing it. However, I do think that not washing your topper too often is really important because it preserves the longevity of the topper so you can wear it. I mean, I have toppers that are over 2 years old and they're still in good shape. So I think that not washing the topper is really key to keeping it looking like new and fresh for as long as possible. Hopefully that answers that question. I do want to show you, since we're talking about washing a topper, I just washed this. This is the extended lace breeze topper, and I'll kind of show you what that looks like in front. But I want to show you just how beautiful this hair is. It's so beautiful. This is the Burmese hair air dried, and I didn't even add anything to the hair. Like, this is just 100% air dried. I didn't do anything to it. I just washed it and let it air dry. And it's gorgeous. It's so pretty. This is like the kind of like beautiful curl that you wish that your bio hair had, because this is how mine dries. But this is just beautiful. So I know people ask me all the time, are there curly toppers? And my answer is yes, you can have hair toppers customized. And I encourage you to explore that if you have a very specific type of curl. But if your hair is like slightly wavy or curly, go with the Burmese hair. Burmese hair is just so beautiful. It's great for longevity and durability, and it just comes with this natural texture that I just find is so beautiful. So I just had to show that off because it's my favorite. Anyway, a question about, can I sew my topper base smaller? Upgrade Courtney is a little bit too large. Okay, so that is a great question. I am not sure that I would recommend going in and sewing the topper to make it smaller. I think you might find that it would get a little bit clumpy unless you're a talented seamstress. What you might consider doing is thinning it out to get rid of some of the bulk of the hair, or maybe contacting customer service. I don't know if they could make it smaller for you or take out some of the wefting, or talking to somebody that does work on customizing toppers, because I would be nervous to do that. However, let's look at the construction. You could get rid of some of the lines of wefting to make it a little bit smaller, but it just makes me nervous whenever you're cutting into something like this. I don't usually recommend it. So I would contact somebody that is maybe familiar with working with toppers and wigs and see what they would suggest about that. Let's see. Oh, and how often, another question I have is, how often do I use oil in the wintertime? So while we're talking about products, thank you, we will talk about the oil. Oil is one of the things that I find so important to use on your topper. And how much you use and where you apply it really, really matters. So thank you for the question. I like to use a little bit of argan oil. This is what I find maybe is the lightest on my hair toppers. It's also very affordable and you can use it on your skin and hair. I like to use just a couple drops a few times a week during the winter. I'm going to show you exactly what I do, how I apply it, and how much. Let's see. So we'll go back to the upgraded Courtney. I'm going to leave her in the middle. And usually I have her on like a wig stand like this when I'm applying oil. But for now, I'm gonna leave her hanging up so you can kind of see how I like to rub it through the ends. When applying oil, stay away from the lace top, the monotop, the silk top area. You don't wanna apply oil to the top of the topper. We're wanting to focus on the ends of the hair. So I'll take my oil and my little dropper, and I'm gonna do like 2, maybe 3 drops. And then I like to rub it into my hands and then really focus on the ends of the hair so that you're hydrating the ends of the hair without applying oil anywhere to the top of the hair. So I really focus from like the middle of it and then down, and I kind of work it into the ends. I find the best time of day to do this is after I've taken off my topper for the day in the evening. As I'm getting ready for bed, I'll kind of do my routine and apply a little bit of oil to the ends a few times a week during the winter time. If it's really windy that day, I tend to do it if it's been a windy day because there might have been a little bit more friction on the hair. So I find that that's really helpful. So definitely apply oil to the ends. If it's been, maybe you're wearing like a coat or something all day and it's rubbing on the coat, that's a nice time to apply oil. So consider what you've done throughout the day and then the temperature outside. If it's been windy or dry or any of those things, you might apply a little bit more or less depending on the weather. But I find, 2 to 3 times a week during the winter, and then the summertime, maybe once a week is usually what I average. Okay, let's see. Okay, somebody is asking if thinning the hair will make it shorter. Let's see. So the follow-up to that question is that the hair topper that they have is barely long enough at 16 inches, and they're worried that thinning the topper might compromise the length. So no, in my experience, that when you're thinning a topper, you are only thinning part of the hair. So let's say you have this chunk that you want to thin out. You're only taking out maybe a third, maybe a quarter of the hair, right? So the length remains, but you're just taking out a little bit of the weight of the hair. It shouldn't affect the overall length of the topper. But again, do this slowly and delicately. I don't typically recommend going at it hard. Just do a little bit at a time to help kind of thin it out. I haven't tried any other styles on net. I'm sorry, I haven't. I've been talking too much. So okay, let's move on. I'm going to try on some other styles for you. Let's go ahead and try on, since we were talking about Breeze. Let's go ahead and try her on. So this is Breeze. Now, the one that I showed you earlier, Airy Elegance, had that closed lace. I'm going to get nice and close so you can see the extended lace on this Breeze topper. So there's the extended lace. I'm going to show you Airy Elegance and her closed lace. You'll notice that I'm using boot clips to hang up my toppers. Now, on the lace top toppers, do you notice that I'm clipping it onto the pressure clip area and not onto the lace? The lace is something that we want to make sure that we are protecting and preserving. So I really don't clip anything onto that area. If I'm going to use a boot clip to store my lace toppers, it's going to be stored like that. I just want to point that out. So here's the closed lace. And you can kind of see the lace has kind of been folded over, and that's to kind of protect it from fraying over time. The extended lace on this Breeze right here, when she arrived, the lace kind of stuck out about this far, and I trimmed it back to where I felt like it was best for me. The closed lace is, for the most part, designed to be worn behind your hairline. It can be worn all the way in the front of your hairline. I prefer the closed lace behind my hairline. However, this extended lace Breeze can be worn all the way in front of your hairline. and can be glued down. You just see that transparent lace. It's so lovely. So it can actually be worn all the way in front of your hairline. This is such a good option for those that have like a frontal alopecia or a receding hairline and there's just not a lot of hair there. You can use the extended lace version, and you can even pair it with a little bit of wig tape or glue to help keep that lace down. Of course, the halo wire does help, makes a huge difference. It's so pretty. But just, just know that glue or wig tape is also a really great option if you know that you're going to be wearing your topper all day and you just don't want to have to worry about that lace shifting around it all. Throw some glue on there and you're golden. I did that when I went to a water park. I actually wore this topper to an indoor water park and put some glue there and wore it all day long, and it didn't budge. It was awesome. So good. Just checking. I'm not good at talking and reading at the same time, so I'm sorry if I have these weird, awkward pauses. Is it necessary to maybe pluck the hair to make a hair or a part line? No, you don't necessarily need to pluck the hair. Sometimes I do on maybe like an upgraded Courtney or something that's a little bit more dense. But for the most part, no, it is not necessary to pluck the part line, especially on a lace top topper like this. I actually wouldn't encourage you to pluck the part line. So pretty. I love the curl on this. Now, again, touching on if your bio hair is a little bit longer than the topper, this is another good example. Obviously, my bio hair is not curly, but you can just see why you wouldn't want your bio hair sticking out from the topper. It just doesn't look right. So this one is 16 inches, but because it has a curl to it, when it air dries, it kind of like shrinks up a little bit. I wouldn't say it shrinks, but it scoochies up a little bit. So this is also 16 inches, but it is longer than my bio hair with the curl. So something to be aware of if you plan to wear it curly. And then I'm just going to show you where the clips fall on this one, since I showed you on the Aerie. It clips in right here, and then the topper kind of wraps around here. This is the base of the topper. And then the clips are going right here. Here's the back. So pretty. If you are just joining us, thank you. Please be sure to ask your questions throughout the evening. This is the Burmese hair. If you are just hopping on, this is Breeze. And as the little signage says here, if you order something from Uniwigs, or you order a topper or a wig through Uniwigs during the Black Friday sale, you'll get up to 30% off of your order, and you will qualify to possibly win one of these babies. I just think these are awesome, massive and huge and awesome. This is a Dyson. This is the Air Straight. So it does the straightening and the curling all at once. So definitely take advantage of that. It's a great time. If you've been thinking about a topper for a while, I always say Black Friday is the time. So just know that. And please be sure to answer or ask your questions. I want to make sure to get to as many of them as possible. Let's see. Let me go up. So yes, I answered, this is 16 inches. Can you clean the concealer powder easily? Great question. The best way for me that I find to clean the lace on my lace top or the monotop toppers is to just actually take one of those makeup wipes that are designed to remove makeup. And I wish I had one so I could show you, but I just take the wipe and I dab it right along that part line, and you can easily, it kind of clears that concealer powder right off. I don't scrub it, I just kind of dab it like this. Does that make sense? Hopefully. Hello. Let's see, don't your boot clips crease the hair? No, I don't find that the boot clips crease the hair. Maybe if I am not situating it well, but usually what I do with the boot clips is I tend to pull a little bit of the hair back and kind of sit it a little bit in between the hair. So I don't have a problem with the top hair. If it does crease it a little bit, then I'll just take my curling iron to it and fix it. But I find that it's not really an issue for me. Are most of the blonde Burmese this wavy? Yes, in my experience, most of the Burmese hair that I've tried has been about this wavy. I have another topper. No, it's not here. It's not quite this wavy, or maybe it was, and it just kind of over time of like running my hands through it. But it's a little bit less wavy, but I do find that the Burmese hair tends to be consistently wavy curly when it air dries. Does the lace get makeup on it? Okay, another good question. Again, yes, it can, and it depends on how much makeup you wear, where you're positioning your hair topper. But I find that using that little makeup wipe right there and just kind of dabbing it to clean the lace up in the front part too, I would just take a little makeup wipe, obviously have this off, and just kind of dab it like this, and that will help keep the lace clean, because you will notice that if it starts to maybe get a little bit orange or yellow over time, then you probably do need to clean that lace. So again, great question. You guys are on top of it with your questions tonight. I love it. So make sure to clean that from time to time, just to make sure it doesn't get a little dingy or cakey. We don't want that. And then what about full bangs? Okay, love this. I love a bang on a hair topper. I need to cut a bang into one of my toppers. I just need to decide which one, because I feel like a bang is the easiest way to make a hair topper or to blend a topper. Honestly, if you cut a bang into any topper, you can just throw the whole thing on and you're ready to go. You don't have to worry about your blend. You don't have to worry about your hairline, nothing. Super easy. I think a bang is adorable. So I highly recommend, if you're maybe you already have a bang, get a hair topper, take it to your stylist and cut a bang into it, because my goodness, I just think it's adorable. So yes, I super recommend it. Let me grab. Okay, do you know what the natural straight hair on Unawig's Delphine ponytail wig means? I prefer Chinese hair, as my hair is very straight and I'm not used to fuller hair. Yes. So I believe, I don't know offhand if Delphine is Chinese hair, but if it says it dries naturally straight, then it most likely is Chinese hair. That is my assumption. If it says naturally straight, you can liken it to the Chinese hair. If you know that you like the Chinese hair, then I would say it's probably the same. The one way to find out for sure, though, I'm pretty sure, if you go on their website and you look at the features or the description section, I think it's one of those little plus signs. You can just click on that. It'll tell you what type of hair is used, and then that way it's not up for debate what it is, if it's Chinese or not. You can figure out what type of hair it is. Reading through the questions and drinking water, excuse me. I can totally understand, though, not like being overwhelmed by potentially wearing curly hair. I was at first. I was super overwhelmed by curly hair because, like I said, this is how my hair dries naturally. And so I didn't think I would be able to handle curly hair, but I find that I really like it. But again, you have to go with your comfort level. If you know, like, okay, this is not, curly hair is not for me, I'm not going to be able to work with it, then definitely go with the Chinese hair. Chinese hair will dry naturally straight. It doesn't have the natural wave to it. If you live someplace that it's humid, then maybe consider, and you don't want to deal with straightening it, you know, you want to wear your topper straight all the time, then again, consider Chinese hair. So there's definitely pros and cons. I have, trying to remember, I'm pretty sure I did a YouTube video about the Burmese hair versus Chinese hair. So you can definitely check that out if you want a lot more detail about that. But I do find, if you prefer your hair straight and you wear it straight all the time, Chinese hair might be better for you. If you have naturally wavy curly hair or you like wavy hair, then consider the Burmese. Those are the kind of the two types of hair that Uniwigs use mostly. Let me scroll up. I got a few more questions. I don't want to miss any. I'm sorry. I don't know if discounts will be lower on Friday. I believe that the sale is pretty consistent all the way through. I don't think that it's going to drop any lower. So I think that it's across the board. The Black Friday sale will be continuing at like up to 30% off. I don't think they're going to drop any lower. They're going to be pretty consistent. All right. Someone mentions that they have a breeze and it dried just like mine did. So yeah, so there's another person that has the breeze and it dried the same. So that's really good to know. Thank you for sharing that. I think it really helps everyone here to hear from other people that have had similar experiences. So thank you. I appreciate that. What did I use in the hair to get the wave? No products. That's the wild thing because I don't know how I don't know how to deal with curly hair. I have no experience, and frankly, I have no products to deal with curly hair. So I used absolutely nothing. This was just I washed her, I conditioned her, and then I actually did kind of give it a little bit of scrunch as I was like kind of towel drying it. I did that kind of thing all the way around, and then I stuck it on this wig stand to dry. And this is what she turned out like. So this is just how she dries on her own. I'm sure if you used products to encourage the curl, it would last longer and probably not frizz. But I'm just not that experienced with curly hair. Okay. I have someone saying that they've been looking at the hairline topper. Do they come in different lengths? And then do I have one to show? Unfortunately, I do not have one to show. I wish I did. They do come, I believe, in two different lengths. They have the 10-inch and 14-inch. And they both have, to my knowledge, they both have like some face framing layers. But they come in those two different lengths. I'm sorry, I don't have one to share. Um, the feature says naturally straight. Okay, so then if you're concerned about that Delphine wig and you want to know what type of hair, I would encourage you to reach out to customer service. In my experience, I have found that customer service through Uniwigs has been great. I've never had any issues. So I would say reach out to them and just ask for some clarification. I know that they're more than happy to answer those questions, as am I if I know the answer. So definitely reach out and ask, hey, what kind of hair do you use in Delphine? I know that I like Chinese hair. Do you use Chinese hair? That would be helpful for them to know and also helpful for you to know what type of hair that you're purchasing. And what are the different types of hair and differences? So we just kind of touched a little bit on the Chinese and the Burmese hair are the two main types of hair that Uniwix uses. I just showed you, this is the Burmese hair, air dried. Now you can blow dry her straight and she is lovely. Let's see. These are all, all of these are Burmese hair right here. So this is what they look like straight. And then I do have, let's see, this one is Chinese hair. So you really can't tell the difference if you're just looking at them hanging up, but they are, so if they blow dry, if you're blow drying them straight, they're going to look and feel pretty much exactly the same. You're not really going to be able to notice a difference, but it's going to be in the way that they air dry. So the Chinese hair is going to air dry pretty straight. It's going to air dry very, very close to this right here. Now I added a few curls into her, but this is what she's going to look like when she air dries for the most part. Whereas the Burmese hair is going to look like this when it air dries. That's the primary difference. Durability, longevity, they're going to be very, very similar. So I wouldn't let those things be a factor. It's the how you want your hair to dry. If you want it to dry naturally straight or you want it to dry naturally curly is going to be the main difference between the Burmese and the Chinese hair. Okay, let's see. What colors are the blondes that I'm showing? I have a few different blondes, so let's go over them and talk about them side by side because this is a good time for it. I also am so excited. Thank you for all the wonderful questions. I have a whole outline of questions that people have sent in, but I so much more enjoy answering the questions here and now for the people that are here. So thank you. I love the questions. Okay, let's see if I can put them in order for you so we can kind of go lightest and then to darkest. The first one is going to be our Vanilla Butter Blonde. That's this one right here. Vanilla Butter Blonde has a little bit of a root, ever so slight root. And then she has some all over cooler undertones, some cool undertones, and then some pretty blonde highlights. So this is Vanilla Butter Blonde. I would say that this one, to answer your immediate question, is going to be the most platinum out of all of the blondes except for the, I think it's just called Platinum Blonde. There is a Platinum Blonde that they offer, and it's just straight blondie blonde. But this is going to be the closest to it. I really love the dimension on this one. So pretty. So we have Vanilla Butter Blonde. We'll move this down. Then we have, let's see. So this is Creamy Ice. No, this is not Creamy Ice. This is Ice Blonde Melt, forgive me. This is Ice Blonde Melt. And so this is gonna have some darker kind of not low lights in it, but so like a darker undertone to it with highlights, and then it kind of melts, Ice Blonde Melt, into a platinum on the ends. So this is the Ice Blonde Melt. We'll hold it up side by side with the Vanilla Butter Blonde. And then we have our Light Permafrost. This is the Light Permafrost. With it has a darker root. There's a Light Permafrost with a light root. This is the dark root option. This is the dark root and then the Light Permafrost. This is a little bit of a warmer blonde. And then this is also a Vanilla Butter Blonde. Let's see. And then we'll do our Dusty Ash Brown. So this is going to be a darker brown color with blonde highlights. So that kind of gives you a quick little overview of the colors that I have on hand. Now they do offer a lot more colors, but these are the ones that I have on hand, kind of from lightest to darkest. And that Light Permafrost is a little bit warmer as it like fades with time. Now this one's kind of old, so it has faded. I would say this would be a little bit darker, brand new. Colors on toppers are going to be like if you had gotten your hair colored. I do say that with time they will fade or they will oxidize. So do make sure that as you are wearing your blonde toppers that you apply a little bit of purple shampoo to them from time to time to help that oxidization, blah, if I could say that right, so that it doesn't warm up too much. And color does fade with time. So you might need, after a year or so, you might need a retouch. Just keep it in mind, it is human hair. Now I'm gonna scroll back up because I think I missed some questions. Okay, somebody wanted to see the Claire, which is great. That's the one that I have right here. This is in the Dusty Ash Brown. So here's the Claire. I went ahead and I trimmed back that lace in the front, so that's why the edge looks the way it does. I trimmed it back so that because I like to wear mine slightly behind my hairline. Let me show her on. So the upgraded Claire is a 6 by 6 inch base. Actually, let me show you that before I put it on. So 6 by 6 inches. It comes with 4 pre-installed pressure clips. Now I have not moved the part line on this topper, but I did trim back the lace. And this can be worn all the way in front of your hairline or slightly behind your hairline because it does have that extended lace front. It has a little bit less density. I want to say it's 120% density, the upgraded Claire is. So a little bit less hair, but because it has that smaller base, it's just going to be less hair overall. Let me show you the back. So this is really good if you're wanting just kind of a very small topper to kind of cover just the top of your head. This is kind of where those first clips are right there. The base kind of wraps around, right around here, and then back here. So it's much smaller than a lot of the other toppers that I've tried on. It does not come with face framing layers. So it's going to be pretty long in the front. You can add those layers yourself, or maybe you just want that very straight, no face framing layers look. So just know that this is one of those toppers that does not come with face framing layers. So if you do have long front hair, this might be the one for you. Let me scroll up. Yeah, I can't remember if, I could be wrong, but I feel like the upgraded Claire, there's an old Claire and there's an upgraded Claire. Now I can't remember. One of them had 120% density, one of them had 110. So I don't remember which is which, and I'm really sorry I don't know that offhand, but maybe one of the Uniwigs team will be able to clarify for us. Let's see. And yes, I'm so glad to answer your questions. Thank you for asking them. There is a silver-ish topper. It's called Sylvia, and it has a little bit more of that like salt and pepper type of shade to it. So I would encourage you to take a look at that one. And I think that, oh, they did. They added the link for that. Way to go, team. Okay, so somebody said 110%. So maybe this Claire is 110% density. But either way, it's not a ton of hair. So if you just want to add a little bit of volume to your hair and you don't need a ton of coverage in the back, then this is a good option for you. For me, for someone with my type of hair loss, I find that this is just not quite enough hair in the back. So let me show you that again. You can kind of see my bio hair through the topper. So I need a little bit more coverage than this, but if you have more hair than me, then this is a great option for you. I kind of like to use myself as the kind of baseline. Like if you have more hair than me, then go with a smaller base. If you have less hair than me, then go with a bigger base, or at least the size base that I'm using. And I'll show you the back of my bio hair so you can kind of get a gauge for how it compares to your own. Not that we want to be comparing ourselves, but at least it gives you a baseline. So that's my bio hair. That's what I'm working with. All right, let's see. Okay, so yes, the 5.5 by 5.5 Claire has 120% density, and the 6 by 6 upgraded Claire has 110% density. Thank you, Uniwigs team, for clarifying that for me. I could not remember those details offhand, so I appreciate you. So yes, that's kind of what you're looking at. This is the 5.5 by 5.5, 120% density Claire. There we go. All right, I think I am up to date on my questions. What color was the Burmese hair? So this one right here, the Burmese naturally dried hair, is in vanilla butter blonde. So pretty. Vanilla butter blonde is one of my favorites, so don't be surprised if it's on several of my toppers. Okay, again, ask your questions, please. I will make sure to answer as many of them as I can. I'm going to, for a little bit, go through some of the things that I kind of had on my outline that I wanted to address and some questions that were sent to me ahead of time. Let's see. I'm gonna look at my outline. Okay, this is one of those questions people want clarification on often, I find, is blending your hairline with a closed lace topper. So I touched on this a little bit earlier. I find that an extended lace topper is best for those that want to wear their topper in front of their hairline, and that is the Burmese hair Breeze that we looked at earlier. Now this is designed to be worn all the way in front of your hairline. And I showed you her earlier. That lace kind of just melts right into your skin, which is lovely. You can wear it all the way in front of your hairline. And by that, I mean, this is my hairline. I don't want it touching my hairline. I'm going to put it just slightly in front. This is ideal for those that have a receding hairline or a frontal fibrosing alopecia. So something along those lines. Now, this can also be worn slightly behind your hairline, but I do find if that is how you plan on wearing your lace top, is slightly behind your hairline, I find it a little bit better to go with the closed lace version. I find that this is a little bit easier to blend when placed slightly behind your hairline. So extended lace for in front of your hairline, closed lace behind your hairline. Not that they are mutually exclusive, you can wear them either way, but this is just what I find is the easiest for blending and for styling. So hopefully that helps kind of clarify that question. I get that question all the time. By the way, if you don't ask your question tonight, maybe you're listening to this while you're cooking your Thanksgiving meal. And if you are, way to go. You're amazing. If you're listening to this and you haven't had a chance to ask a question here in the live, feel free to reach out to me or to the Uniwigs team. I know that they are happy to answer your questions. I am happy to answer your questions. You can always send me a DM on Instagram and I will get to those as quickly as I can. I think asking questions is the best way to make sure that you get the right topper for you and that you feel confident in your topper wearing journey. And that's just, it's huge, right? If you don't feel confident and you don't feel good in it, you're never going to wear it. And so let's make sure to get you the right topper for you. I think that's so important. I have a question. Can salt and pepper gray available in a topper in real hair? Yes, I will say this though. There are salt and pepper toppers, and I think Wigs popped in the Sylvia topper somewhere in this chat. Sylvia is a really beautiful topper. It's a beautiful salt and pepper color. Salt and pepper is a hard color to get right. So they have one available. It's a beautiful color, but a lot of people have varying shades of the salt and pepper. So I find that too much white in the hair makes the hair over processed and maybe makes the topper a little bit, I don't want to say brittle, but they can't use too much of the white. They can't over process the hair because then the topper is not a good quality. So they are limited with the shade of salt and pepper that they can achieve without compromising the hair. There we go. That's what I'm trying to say is they can't go too white. Otherwise, it compromises the hair. So the shade that they do have available is a little bit limited. However, I know that they are able to do customizations, and I do believe that they are working on a synthetic salt and pepper, which I'm excited about. I think that's a really great option for a lot of people. So hopefully that answers that question. There is the Sylvia topper. It is salt and pepper, but be careful as you're perusing other places and you find like a bright white topper, like just how processed that might be. Hopefully that makes sense. Yes, hopefully that makes sense. And hello for those that are just joining us. If you're just joining us, please be sure to ask your questions and I will get to them. I have my outline, but I've had a bunch of questions already and they've been such good questions and I'm excited to answer them for you. We did talk about Breeze and Airy already, but I did want to show you them side by side so that you can kind of see the difference in the base sizing. So let me pull those for you. And I might actually show them to you upside down on my little wig head so you can kind of see where they fall. So this is the Airy. And then this is Breeze. So you can see that Breeze is significantly bigger on the base size. And I'm going to throw them on a wig stand so you can kind of see the coverage. So Airy. So Breeze is 8.5 by 9 base size. And let me show you on the wig head. And Airy is 6.5 by 7. Sometimes I like this upside down approach so you can kind of see the base size and what you're working with. So it's going to give you significantly more coverage. Now, why would you want a larger base size? Maybe you have alopecia patches on the top of your head and you need more coverage. Maybe you have more hair loss overall. Maybe you have really delicate hair up here and you want to clip it a little bit lower on your scalp so that it's not pulling or tugging on your delicate bio hair. So those are all reasons why you might want to go with a bigger size base. Now let me show you Airy again. So again, Airy is going to provide you great coverage, but it's not going to be as much coverage as you would get with the Breeze topper. Sometimes I find it just helpful to see it, like the visual aid on it upside down. You can kind of envision what it might look like on your scalp. Which lace is better for full bangs? If you are wanting a full bang, honestly, it really doesn't matter. The lace is going to be fine either way. I would recommend probably, if you're debating between the open lace and the closed lace, I would probably go with a closed lace just because that lace is kind of folded over and secured. So you're not going to have to worry about fraying over time if you know you're going to be adding that bang to your topper. So if you're adding that bang, I'd probably go with the closed lace. That would probably be a good option. It's just as far as durability and longevity. I don't have the Sylvia. I have someone that would like to see the Sylvia topper, that salt and pepper topper. I don't have that one, but I know I've seen a few really well done YouTube videos and reviews about her. So I would encourage you, if you have time, to pop onto YouTube at some point in time and just watch those videos and see what other people have done with those toppers, because I do think it's a really great option for salt and pepper. It's a really beautiful salt and pepper and a well done one. And there are some good reviews on there, so you can kind of see what that looks like on some other people. YouTube's such a great tool when you're trying to pick out a topper. I mentioned it earlier on in the live, but if you are debating between two different colors, like I showed you how I wear the vanilla butter blonde all the time and it doesn't necessarily match with my bio hair super duper well, but because it's highlighted, it tends to be okay. But if you're kind of debating between a few colors, YouTube's the place to go. Go type in the color that you're looking into so that you can see it in different people, different lighting. I think it really helps. It helps to be able to visualize it on an individual versus just looking at pictures of the color. Cool. I think I'm up to date on all my questions. Woohoo. I think if I missed your question, if I didn't answer it, just go ahead and ask it again. I won't be offended. I'm sorry that I missed it if I did. Let's move on to the next part of my outline, my handy dandy outline. I have had people ask me a lot recently if they can replace the clips with Velcro on their hair topper. Now, I wouldn't recommend replacing the clips with Velcro, but you could use them maybe in addition to, or this is what I do if I ever use Velcro. I'm not a big Velcro fan. I find that it like clings too much to my hair and I have a hard time getting it off. So I just don't use it that often. But let me show you what Velcro I'm talking about for those of you that are like, what in the world? Let's see. So have you ever seen these before? These little Velcro strips? These can be really helpful if you're worried about traction alopecia, or some people just find the clips bothersome. If you're not wanting to wear the halo wire, you can use these little Velcro strips. Now, what I would do if it were me wearing these, I wouldn't take out the clips in my hair topper. I would just use the Velcro strips sometimes in lieu of the clips. So how I would do that, let me show you. We'll use my upgraded Courtney. We'll use the upgraded Courtney. This one is the Ice Blonde Melt. We looked at her a little bit earlier. Ice Blonde Melt, such a pretty color, right? And this is a 7x8" base. So you can kind of see that. What I would do is I would actually cut this in half. I'm not going to do that right now, but I'm going to show you. I would cut it in half. I don't know where my scissors are. And then I would stick the Velcro. So you're going to go Velcro side down. So it's going to be, the Velcro side's going to actually be sticking to your hair, right? And I would kind of tuck it in to the clip like this. So it would only be half of this. So it wouldn't be sticking out that much. And I would do it on either side. And I do this from time to time if I would just want a little bit of extra grip. And then you can kind of use those in lieu of the clips. And when you're putting them on, I'm only going to do one side because, again, it always just, I have a hard time getting it out of my hair. When you're putting it on, you would kind of just like scooch it into place a little bit so it has a little bit of grip. And then I would hold it on one side and pull it on the other and kind of give it the little scooch. And so what that'll do is it'll give you that grip that you need without having to use the clips. So you can kind of see it's not clipped in on this side, but it's being held pretty secure. If you were to use that in combination with the halo wire, I feel like you could go all day long and not have to worry about your topper moving around too much. So I think that's a really great option. I just don't use it because I don't like this problem after I'm trying to take it off and it just hangs onto my hair. So I tend to not use the Velcro for this reason, but it's a really great option, especially if you have some traction alopecia going on. And by traction alopecia, that's just basically if you are, maybe you've been wearing your hair in a ponytail for too long and you're starting to have breakage due to the tension, or maybe you're even not clipping in your topper properly, or you've been clipping it in too much in the same spot consistently, and you've developed a little bit of traction alopecia. These can be a really great option. You just have to be prepared to kind of work on it on the way out. Let's see. Okay, so those are those things. I get questions about these all the time, so hopefully that kind of helps with those Velcro questions. Let's see. Oh, I have another person that was asking me the other day, can you add clips to your hair topper? And yes, absolutely you can. I actually find that this is the best way for me to avoid any kind of like traction alopecia or just uncomfortable like tension where the clips kind of clip in. What I do typically on my upgraded Courtney toppers is I add an extra clip here and an extra clip there, and sometimes an extra clip in the back. And then that way I can rotate where I'm clipping in my hair on a daily basis so that I'm not constantly clipping it in the same places. Again, use that in combination with the halo wire, and you do not have to worry about just breakage or causing tension for your little delicate bio hairs like mine. It just is far more comfortable. You have options. You don't have to clip them all in. You can rotate them. I find it's a really great way to preserve your bio hair. Let's see. Could you use silicone patches like on the hairline topper along with the halo wire and not use clips? That's a great question. I think it depends on your hair loss. And by that I mean so like you said, the hairline topper does have those silicone patches, and really the hairline topper is great for those that have kind of a receding hairline, but they have hair on the crown of their head. But they also maybe don't have hair right in through here. I have a little bit of hair there, but for people that are using the silicone patches to kind of keep it in place, you almost need that like skin to silicone contact having the silicone on the topper when your bio hair is kind of separating your scalp from the topper is not going to give you the grab that you might need in order to keep it securely in place all day. That being said, if you that it might give you a little bit of extra grip, it might help keep it in place all day, but you might from time to time need also to use the pressure clips or a second halo wire. You can always sew a second one in there. I know people that do that and that works really well for them. So it just depends on your type of hair loss and how much hair you have and how you plan to wear the topper. But yes, it's definitely an option. Just know that silicone tends to work best when it's like touching skin directly. Hopefully that answers that question. Let's see. Okay, so going back to the Sylvia topper, they went and looked at the Sylvia and the color in the gray is great, but I have a bob with no layers, shoulder length. Do you think that it can be cut to match the style I currently have? Yeah, absolutely. Great question. It can be cut. I truly think that customization is one of the best ways to make a topper look and feel like you. And by customization, I'm not saying you have to go and have like a full top to bottom customized topper. I just mean like add some face framing layers in there, cut it to match your style, how you currently wear your hair. Absolutely. That shouldn't be a problem. I think the Sylvia comes in like 12 inches. So you should be able to cut it as in a shorter bob and it should be just fine. I think that that would be a great way to kind of make it look and feel like you. Yeah, shoulder length. Yeah, you'll be golden with the 12 inches. My 12-inch toppers tend to like hit right here on me. Now everybody's a little bit different, but on me the 12-inch toppers tend to hit about right here. So if you have a shoulder length bob, you should be able to cut some length off of that and be golden. Good question. Thank you. All right. Someone says, I think because I don't have hair in front, I should get a lace front, right? Yes, I would say if you don't have a lot of hair in front, getting a lace front will give you a little bit more of kind of a melted look. And by that, I mean like the lace will melt a little bit easier into your skin. Not actually melt, but you know what I mean. Like make it look like it's not there so that you won't be able to notice the lace. That I think is going to be the best option. So let's see. Let me hold up that extended lace again. So if you're wearing that all the way, we'll do it on my hand, all the way in front of your hairline, the lace is just kind of going to melt into your skin, especially if you combine it with a little bit of wig tape or glue. That'll be super easy. And because you're not having that folded over lace from a closed lace, it'll just be a little bit easier to blend it. Although it's still pretty good on the closed lace. But I do think if you plan to wear it, if you plan to wear it all the way in front of your hairline, then I do think going with the extended lace is a really good option. Don't apologize for the halo wire questions. I love halo wire questions. Let's see, where would you sew in an additional halo? Does Unowig sell those silicone patches separately? So I think they did respond that we only sell the silicone tape, but so they don't sell the silicone patches. They do sell the silicone tape. That is not necessarily what I would recommend using if you want the silicone, but you could probably go on Amazon and find some silicone patches to sew in yourself. If I were to add, hello to our newbies, if I were to add another halo wire to my topper, and again, it's going to depend on the topper, but let's just say we're talking about Airy. And I currently have, so you can kind of see these little hooky things right there for the halo wire. If I were going to sew in another one, I'd probably sew it just on the other side of this pressure clip. And I know that feels like, okay, well, it's all the same spot, but what it does is it just adds, it's like putting on a bigger headband, right? So it just adds it like displaces it a little bit. And then that way you just have a little bit more security, a little bit more grip. And then you might, depending on the topper, you might just add an extra pressure clip to the very back and then clip in that one pressure clip. So it'd be right in the back of your head. I would clip in that one, and then you could use the 2 halo wires, and you really wouldn't have to use many of these other pressure clips at all. That's what I would do if it were me. Again, everybody's a little bit different. What's going to be comfortable for me may not be comfortable for you, but that's kind of how I would navigate that. I don't mind the questions. Keep them coming. They're good. Okay. So let's move on. I think I'm covering so much. This is good. I don't have a ton of time left, so I'm going to keep going. I'm going to try to get through as much as I can. How long do toppers last? That's a great question that I get all the time. How long, like if I'm going to be spending this kind of money on my topper, how long should I expect it to last? A lot of how long your topper will last is going to depend on you. And I know that kind of sounds like you're just trying like a scapegoat or something, but no, I think a lot of it depends on how you're caring for your topper. Are you hanging it up the right way? Are you using a boot clip but putting it on the lace? Don't do that. That's not going to be good for the longevity of your topper. Are you storing it properly on a wig stand or a boot clip? Or when you're going on vacation and you're packing it, are you packing it in like a little silk bag, or are you just chucking it in your luggage? How often are you washing your topper? Are you washing it once a week? Well, that's going to strip the hair a lot quicker than if you're only washing it once a month. So all of these factors are going to play into how long your topper will last. I would say it should last you a minimum of a year, upwards to 2 years, like is kind of my range. A year to 2 years is what you should expect from your topper. I just tend to want a new topper after a year because I find something pretty and new. That's just me. But I have toppers that are almost 3 years old and in great shape. So it just depends on, again, how you're caring for your topper, how often you wear your topper. And the other thing I was going to say about that is have like, if you're like me, and once a year or so you want to get a different topper, what I usually do is I kind of semi-retire one of my older toppers to be a under the hat topper. So when I'm going to soccer games on the weekend, I'm not wearing my everyday topper, I'm wearing my hat topper. So I wear that one underneath a hat or underneath a beanie or to the pool, right? Because I don't want to put I don't want to expose my best topper, let's say, to the sun all the time and to the friction that it'll have underneath my hat or my beanie. So just kind of keep that in mind as you're caring for your toppers, and as you're maybe considering retiring a topper, maybe semi-retire it, and that can be now you're under the hat topper. So just different things to keep in mind. I think it's helpful. I find it so nice to have a topper that I can just throw under a hat and then maybe come home, switch it out for my like nice topper, and my hair is like really pretty in seconds. And I went from hat hair to gorgeous hair. So just, it's nice to have that as an option if you're able to. All right. Someone is asking, can you explain the halo wire? Like showing us how to adjust it. I feel like when I pull it to shorten, it seems like I was stretching it. Is that how it is supposed to work? Yeah, absolutely. Yes. So I know it feels like you're like gonna break your halo wire when you put it on. That's what it's supposed to do. Like it's meant to do that. It's meant to be stretched and pulled. It's not, well, not stretched. It's meant to be pulled. It's not stretching the wire. The wire has a lot of give to it. So this is meant to kind of have that elasticity. Like when you're pulling on a tight pair of sweatpants or something, you got to get it, got to get it all the way up. So it's meant to have that elasticity. Don't worry about breaking it. It is went to tighten it. What I like to do, and I'll show you how I kind of put this on, but to tighten it, I like to hang on to that little like beaded metal part and then pull on the loose end. Does that make sense? Yeah. So Let me show you how I put that on. Typically, I would tie my hair back, but because I don't have a hair tie handy, I'm just gonna kind of pull it back real quick. And then I like to take the front of the topper, put it on my forehead, and then place the band underneath my bio hair. And then I would release my bio hair from my ponytail and kind of flip my topper into place. Then I will take like a comb or my hairbrush and pull out my bio hair where I would like to blend it. So yes, I know it feels like you're gonna break the silicone wire, but you're not. It's meant to work that way. So that's such a good question because yes, that is something that a lot of people just don't quite understand. Is like, it's okay to pull on it. It's okay. I know it feels like you're gonna break it, you're not. And then I just kind of pull this out. There's a little knock on my door. One of my kiddos. See how many times they knock. My husband's home, don't worry. So there we go. And then that halo wire is just gonna let rest there at the base of your neck. I like this if I'm gonna be wearing it all day, maybe even going to an amusement park. I've done this before and worn them on a roller coaster. What I'll do is I'll put my hair into like a low ponytail and I let that halo wire sit underneath the ponytail, right? So it really is secure in place all day long. It does not go anywhere. It's comfortable and I don't even have to wear it with any pressure clips. So this is a really great way to wear your hair topper. So now once it's on, if I feel like I need to adjust it more, then I can just pull on that little string again and adjust it to tighten it on either side. Hopefully that makes sense. How can I get more lift volume on the crown? Good question. I love these questions. You guys are doing great. Okay, so if you want a little bit more lift or even a little bit more of a natural movement, one of the things I like to do is use my round brush blow dryer. So have that here for you. I'm not going to show you on this one because I don't want to ruin the beautiful curl. So let's switch out the topper and I'm going to show you what I do to kind of give my toppers a little bit more lift and kind of natural movement on top. So let's see. To decide which one to put on for each demonstration. So let's do my upgraded Courtney. We're going to do it in the Ice Blonde Melt. So we'll put this one on again real quick. And then I'm going to show you what I do to kind of give it a little bit more lift. So again, if you're joining us, I was showing you earlier how I like to put on my toppers, but I like to kind of do one pressure clip at a time, scooping up as much hair as possible. And I find that if I pull down on the topper and scoop up before clipping it in, I have a nice and secure fit. Okay, so my topper's on. If I'm wanting a little bit more lift, what I would do is I would spray the top of my topper, right? I might adjust my part line if I need to adjust it still. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my round brush blow dryer, and much so like you would give your bio hair a little bit of lift, I'm going to blow dry it up and I'm going to use the round brush to kind of pull it up and away. I don't typically do this with it on my head, but I find that this is the best way to show you. I would do this on a wig stand so I'm not pulling on my bio hair. And then I'm going to do that in the front as well. This is the best way I think to give the front a natural lift, is you're going to kind of blow dry it like this. You're going to be away from your face, giving it that natural kind of lift. You might even incorporate a little bit of your bio hair as you're doing it. And then you're going to start to mess around with the direction of the hair a little bit, right? Because right now it's trained in a certain direction. But what you're going to want to do while it's wet is you're just going to keep blow drying it this way over and over again, right? And then you're going to switch it and you're going to blow dry it this way. And you're just going to keep messing with the direction of the hair to keep keep the root essentially lifting up, up, so that you can give the whole like fiber of it a natural lift, and it gives it a lot better movement at that point too. It would be easier if I could show you with the blow dryer on and with this wet, but I think that kind of gives you the gist of it. As you're blow drying it, kind of just treat it like your bio hair. If you're trying to give your bio hair a natural lift, you're going to be blow drying it up, and you're going to move the direction around so that it has a little bit more movement to it. Hopefully that made sense. Can you explain what monotop means and if that is the same as the closed lace topper? Okay, yeah. Good question. Let me show you them side by side. So right now, this is the monotop upgraded Courtney. And I'm closing the clips on my topper. For those that weren't here earlier, I always keep my pressure clips closed. It's just a great way to protect your topper. So the monotop topper is going to be, or monotop in general, is going to be a lot more durable than maybe your lace top. However, it's going to be slightly transparent, and by that I just mean you can kind of see through it, but not to the same extent that you would a lace. So it's a little bit more durable, a little bit thicker, but not quite as transparent. Let me show you the lace. Okay, now here's the lace. So you can see it's a lot more transparent, but it's also a lot more delicate. So lace tends to be a little bit more lightweight, a little bit more delicate, and a little bit more transparent. Monotop tends to be a little bit thicker, a little bit more durable, and a little bit less transparent. So there's the kind of like the side by side. So that's the closed lace and then the monotop. And then the third one that I kind of wanted to touch on is like a silk top. So a silk top is going to give you the most realistic looking scalp. This is the Savannah topper right here that I'm showing you. It has that super realistic scalp, right? Someone could hover right over your head and it's still gonna look like scalp. However, it's not transparent at all, right? It has this kind of much thicker material. It's going to be a lot thicker to blend. So blending something like this is going to be a little bit more work. I typically don't recommend this type of topper for someone that's brand new to topper wearing unless they have someone that's going to help teach them how to use it, or they're going to add a bang to the topper. Now, if you're going to add a bang to the topper, by all means, this will be super easy to blend. If you're brand new to topper wearing, a silk top topper, although it has that really beautiful scalp, it's a little bit more work to blend. So I usually say, or I recommend starting off with a lace top or the mono top. So that's kind of like the three of them. Good. Okay, let's see. I think all, making sure I'm getting all these questions. Good. Yes, I think I'm caught up. Okay, so we will move on to, I'm running out of time. I only have 10 minutes left. So if you have any last minute questions, be sure to ask them now so that I can make sure and answer them. I have a few more here that I wanted to touch on. And again, if you are just joining us or kind of joined us on the latter end, Unix is offering like one of their best sales that they run all year. So if you're kind of debating like, should I get a topper, or you've been thinking about it for a while, now's a great time. And you could win one of the Dyson air curlers and straighteners. So it's just it's a good chance, it's a great, or not a good chance, a good time for it, I suppose, just because of the sale and the chance to win the Dyson. So it is exciting. If you have questions, be sure to ask them. If you don't get to them now, like I said before, DM me, ask Unix customer service. I know that there's so many people out there that are willing to help and answer those questions for you. So don't hesitate. Okay, we did talk about if your hair could be longer than your topper, which I said, no, please don't do that. I find that on me, that looks terrible. I'm sure there's some people that could pull it off, but in general, I do not recommend it. But we didn't really talk about I guess we did a little bit, if your hair could be shorter than your bio hair. So we talked about, the general rule of thumb is 1 to 2 inches longer than your bio hair. So you want a topper 1 to 2 inches longer than your bio hair. But one of the questions I get often is, can it be like 6 inches longer? Like if you're going to go with like wearing hair, might as well wear the long, beautiful hair. So to that, I say, in general, it might be more noticeable that you are wearing something. Most people are probably just going to assume it's extensions if they can figure out that you're wearing hair. But for the best blend, I do recommend that 1 to 2 inch range. I find that is just the easiest for blending. You just have a really hard time telling where your bio hair ends and the topper begins. You just can't tell where one ends and the other begins. So I just find that 1 to 2 inch rule is in general the easiest to go with. Is a purchase required to win the Dyson? To my knowledge, yes. You can only win the Dyson if you make a purchase during the Black Friday sale. I do not believe there's any other way to enter to win the Dyson. I think it's only if you make a purchase during the Black Friday sale. And what is the sale? The sale is, it's in general just up to like 30% off of the toppers on the website and wigs on the website. So it's just a good all over percentage off of your normal price. So hopefully, like usually this is the time in the past that I've kind of made my purchases for hair because I just find that it is the best pricing of the year. And when you know you're gonna get it, like it's just, I stock up on all of my stuff around this time of the year because it's just better pricing. So hopefully that answers that. Any others? Okay, good. All right. Let's see. I'm going to answer probably 1 or 2 more questions before I kind of give you a little bit of a wrap up. One of the questions that I get often is if you should wash your topper before your first wear. Now, this is not necessarily something that is required. If you know that you want that gorgeous Burmese hair curl, then yeah, obviously you're going to have to give it a quick wash before you wear it. But I oftentimes will pull it out of the box and put it on my head. I know, a lot of other people don't do that. They want to wash the topper before they put it on. Always make sure to look at the return policy for, the company that you're buying from. If you wash it, it might not make it returnable. So I always encourage you, before you do anything to the topper, change the part line, adjust it, anything like that, read the return policy so that you know one way or another. But yes, I think it's just a personal preference. I oftentimes will pull it out of the box and pop it on my head. I usually will throw like a little bit of curl in it, but it's not necessary. You can wash it. You don't have to. Personal preference. The halo wire keeps breaking. How to avoid this? I'm not sure that I could speak to that because I have not had a halo wire break. I wonder, that's interesting. I wonder if, honestly, I'm not quite sure. I've not had a halo wire break and I've kind of tried to break it before. So I would say maybe message customer service, or you can send me a message and we can talk about it in a little bit more detail because I've not had that problem. Maybe it's where the little clip is located when you're pulling on the wire. Maybe that has something to do with it. So maybe we can dissect that a little bit because I intentionally was trying to break one the other day because I have people asking me all the time, am I going to break it? And I've just not had that problem. So send me a message or message customer service because I feel like we should probably figure out why that's happening. It would be helpful to know. Yeah. Good. Okay. Let's see. What was the last thing that I was going to touch on? There was one more that I wanted to touch on. We talked about choosing the base. The base size is going to, again, depend on your hair loss, where you want the coverage. So a lot of that is just completely like personal preference and the type of hair loss that you're experiencing, or if you just want to add extra volume. If you just want to add extra volume, then a smaller base is great. If you have pretty progressive hair loss, then you're going to want to go with a larger base. So I definitely think that the hair loss pattern dictates the size of the topper that I would recommend. Let's see. I think that's pretty much everything. So I'm going to, with that, go ahead and wrap it up. I have one more question. Do you recommend synthetic fibers? There are a few synthetic fibers that I like. In general, I tend to prefer human hair. It's just, it again is personal preference. I feel more comfortable working with human hair. I like the feel of human hair. I like the look of human hair, so I lean the human hair route. I have I have one synthetic topper, and she's pretty. I just don't find that I wear her all that often. So really, there's nothing wrong with synthetics. I know lots of people that are like, don't give me that human hair topper. That's gonna, the curl's gonna fall out after a week or two. I want to be able to squirt mine and have the curl, right back where it was before the first day that I bought it. So it's personal preference. I know synthetics tend to not last quite as long as human hair, but I know there's a lot of definite pros. Like you can be out in the pouring rain and it'll dry perfectly. So you're just gonna have to, weigh the pros and cons for each. But don't let anyone tell you that you're wrong for liking one thing or another, because it's just personal. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I've had fun. I really enjoy these lives. I find them, um, there's something about being able to chat with people that just kind of get it. So I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your questions so much, because I feel like if maybe, you're wondering this, there's got to be somebody else wondering that same thing out there. So thank you for your questions. Thank you for being here and making yourself vulnerable, and just being willing to listen to what I have to say. I just appreciate you so much. The last thing that I want to say as we are wrapping up is make sure that on your topper wearing experience, on your journey, that you don't let others dictate how you feel about yourself in this process. There are going to be times where you grieve your hair loss, and that's okay. There are going to be times that you rejoice in being able to wear beautiful hair, and that's okay. You're not pigeonholed to feeling one emotion all the time. You can feel all of it all of the time. Um, Embrace the community. The community is they're wonderful people that are truly out there just to help you along in your journey. So don't be afraid to reach out to me, reach out to other members of this community, because it's just so wonderful to be able to talk to people that get it. Not everyone in your life does. So don't hesitate to reach out. This is a beautiful community. I love Uniwigs. I love doing these lives with them. I enjoy what I do. So don't hesitate to reach out to me. And with that, I will say, I hope you have a lovely Thanksgiving. Thank you for joining me. And just thank you for being here. Have a lovely night.